Good morning. Good morning. Bearcat hears your voices and he's jumping up on the table to see you. So come here, Bearcat.
How'd Bearcat's vet visit go?
It was good. Now he's healthy. They told me his upper respiratory issue would pass in a couple of days, and we got him some medicine for his food, and now he's actually spunky again, walking around the house. So
Very cool.
Loving the energy I'm already getting out of today. And that was just walking outside and things were great. I'm going to touch on a couple of things before we jump into some objection handling. And that's Jalen said he's got a new book on the way. I want to celebrate that. Good job, Kezi. He is killing it, getting some books read. Look at that. Cheryl's got her MREA out. He came into my office the other day and he's like, "Hey, Dan, I just finished the MREA. What should I get next?" And I told him, the book, what I've told you guys all to say is exactly what to say by Phil M. Jones, right? We know that little black book, the scripting. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's exactly what to say for real estate agents. It is a great little book, quick little read. You should have it in your library. Then he comes to me and goes, "I just finished that book. Which one should I read next?" And I told him the one thing. And he jumps into it. He orders the book and he starts going down the path. Do you believe that reading will help you advance your career? Everyone should be shaking your head yes. And if you don't believe that, that's okay. I'm going to challenge that belief today. I'm going to challenge you to grow and develop. Because we go back to school, high school, middle school, graduate school, doesn't matter. What were you learning from? Who gave you your information?
Books and teachers.
Books and teachers. The teacher taught from a book. So books are the culmination of people's lifetime of research, especially memoirs and autobiographies and stuff like that, where we get thousands and thousands and thousands of words that represent years and years and years of somebody's life that you can read in mere minutes. How else can you learn any faster? If you read a book about somebody's best experiences and their number one lessons in life that they went through trial and error to find, you can circumvent these trial and errors that took them years and years to figure out. So you can actually jumpstart your life. You can jump ahead a few spaces in the game. It's like pulling that, that chance card of Monopoly, go past go, collect $200 more. When you get the right book, you get the right resource, it elevates your opportunity. It jumps you ahead. Too many people, and I mean too many people, are trying to get ahead with the idea of getting without giving. That is in dangerous times, getting without giving. That's what created the Great Depression, is people living off margin, getting rich without giving any value. But it kind of spoke to my heart this morning when I heard that in the book I was reading, as we talked about getting without giving. It rang me true that every one of us in real estate wants a real estate deal, right? Raise your hand if you would take a real estate deal right now, buyer or seller, given to you. 100%. If I walked up to you, okay, there, I love it. Chris has got two hands raised. He's all in. But if I gave you a real estate deal right now, you would be all in. You'd be 100% about it. But what are you giving to get that result? What energy, what value, what are you giving to the world to receive that value? And whatever book you're reading, whatever podcast you're listening to, whatever thing you do to fill your mind with greatness is giving you ideas, is giving you results that are giving you the shortcuts to success. But you have to give the energy and attitude to do so. Nothing in this business comes without a cost. I believe that nothing in life comes without a cost. And as my mom and dad used to say, nothing in life is free. No such thing as a free lunch. It always comes with strings attached. If you want a free deal, there's probably a referral attached to it. If you want an easy sale, there's probably a whole lot of work you had to do to get there. So if we're thinking about what we're reading, what we're looking into, or what we're listening, ask questions of those ahead of you in the game. Ask questions of those that are a few steps beyond where you're at and say, what are you listening to? What are you reading? Be like Jalen and come into my office and say, hey, what's next? Because that's going to help you get the little pearls that I've gotten. I share my pearls with you every day. And then I go and I add the same thing, the classes and the mentorships and the coaching that I get book resources, I get podcast resources, I get things shared with me that are doing the same thing with me, it's stepping me ahead. But it doesn't come without a cost. I have to then invest my time and sometimes money to have these resources so that I can internalize this good value, this goodness, these little pearls and these little go ahead chance cards, so that I can share them back out to you guys. That doesn't come without a cost. You then have to listen, deal with me in the mornings, because sometimes you guys don't want to wake up. I can tell by your cameras being off that you're not awake yet. And you got to put it into action. So don't think anything comes for free, and know that the value you get out of things is in direct proportion to what you give. No longer are we in a world of go-getters. We are in a world of go-givers. And there's a great book called The Go-Giver, written by Bob Burg. I also have that one on the shelf, Kezzy, if you want to borrow. That in a world that is filled with noise and media, you guys agree that there's people everywhere trying to get your attention? The people that give the most value, the people that give the most entertainment, are the ones that get the most attention. So you in real estate, if you're giving more value and you're giving more attention and you're giving more opportunities and you're giving more to your database, do you think you'll get more of those random phone calls to say, hey, Devin, I need to buy 500,000 acres of land and build 62 million houses? These phone calls don't just come out of the ether, they come out of the gap that you create in go giving. So I want you guys to remember that today is you got to give to get. And I want you to give in far excess of what you expect to receive. And all of a sudden, one day you're going to get smacked in the face with that $1 million deal. It came out of nowhere because you've been giving a value without the expectation of return. You've created a social gap where people fill into it. And if you call them every day, and this actually came from a meeting I had with an agent yesterday who's told me, Dan, I called every one of my open house leads for months and months and months. And then I finally texted them and they told me that they bought a house. And I was like, well, what? I've been calling them every day. And then I asked him, okay, what voicemail have you left every single time? And he goes, well, I just call to see if they're still interested. I was like, every time you called, you said, are you still interested? Are you still interested? Are you still interested? Is that giving of value? No, that is expecting of return. Every single call was give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. Hey, call me so I can sell you a house. Call me back so I can sell you a house. Call me back so I can sell you a house. And so I told him, I was like, maybe you switch it up. What would it look like if you called and said, hey, no reason to call me back. I just wanted to share with you the interest rates that are going on right now. Next voicemail, hey, I just want to call you back. Didn't know if you knew about this Lighthouse program that's available with some down payment assistance. Hey, here's some information that would be helpful. I'm going to send you over an email with some information on the differences of the market you're looking at and a different neighborhood that might be similar. You give, 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 give.
Dan, that book, Exactly What to Say for Realtors, has a great hook. It says, I don't know if you'd be interested in this, but, and then they have no choice but to be interested in it.
Yeah, it's the first thing they talk about. The negative takeaway. I don't know if this is for you, but I don't know if you'd be interested in this, but I'm not sure if this is for you, but I don't know if this is something you've been looking for. But creating these connections between the resources we have and the results we want are going to allow you to create some pretty awesome businesses. So I got a lot of head shakes this morning, so I hope I'm touching some hearts. And I know Cheryl's been holding her hand up. She wants to say something. She is crawling out of her skin.
I'm holding a finger up. No, I was just going to say, I looked up that section that you said in the MREA yesterday about, starting the day with positive energy and having a habit of constant renewal in learning. And it really got me to get my book, start reading the book again, because I kind of set it aside. But one thing I did changed in my mindset is I started working on the family reunion deal in February. And because I've had a roadblock up to now about the money of all this, like the mega camp. I'm like, I can't afford that, or I don't, it's too much money. And now I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just sign up now for that, for the family reunion, and get that going, because everyone keeps telling me, that you learn so much there and it's so valuable.
I believe Amanda Clark is at Mega Camp right now, or at least she's coming home from it because she was there. Tyler, did you go to Mega Camp? No.
No, I stayed home this time to manage everything. with Jamie. It's a little tough when both people leave at the same time. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
stayed this time.
Amanda, can you give us a little blip on why someone should go to Mega Camp or Family Reunion?
Well, the education, but also the connections that you make, I mean, the amount of time you can spend sitting down and connecting with people and one-on-ones, and the value you can get from learning from people that are in other markets with other experiences is huge. It's just a different takeaway. It's a different perspective than what you might hear from people in your own market. And sometimes, quite frankly, they're more eager to share because you're not their competition. So, they don't look at you that way. It's just it's a different scenario, but, it gives you the opportunity to really find and align with people that are doing more than what you're doing, and, have them kind of bring you into that. But then the education value is just, it's really outstanding as well. They had so many different classes and breakouts and community events. And, I mean, I haven't missed, other than COVID when they didn't have it, I haven't missed a family reunion or a mega camp since I started working at Keller Williams. So.
And like we talked about, is finding somebody that's a few spaces ahead of you on that game board. Like Amanda just said, is find and align with people doing as much or more than you, so you can learn something else. If you go and you spend $5,000 on a family reunion trip, and I'm throwing a number out there, and you pick up one thing that will help you get one piece of business, nobody on this call has an average sales price that would yield them a smaller than $5,000 commission. I know that because the national average is higher than that. Unless you live in Roebuck, Arkansas, where the average sales price is 175 chickens, you're going to make your money back. This is like we call a couple of days ago. We talk about investing in your time, investing in your development. A book allows you to read the thoughts and filtered results of someone that has maybe died or maybe did a million better things than you did. You could learn from them. But going to networking events like Family Reunion and Mega Camp, Masterminds, and all these huge regional events or national events allows you to link up with people you would never otherwise talk to, run into, or know. My favorite experiences at Mega Camp don't happen within the classrooms. My favorite experiences at Family Reunion don't happen in the classrooms or in the seminars. They happen in the hallways. It's when someone runs up to you and says, hey, I've been looking for you because someone told me I needed to talk to you. And then when I ask somebody, hey, they're like, you need to look for this person while you're there and make sure you guys connect while you're there. Take them to lunch, do whatever you can. I took a guy to lunch that had more commas in his bank account than my last dissertation. That was the best.
Yeah, I got to sit down and
go ahead, man.
Have a 30-minute. I got to sit down and have a 30-minute conversation with an agent who has a $30 million listing and a $45 million listing. And she answered every question I asked about, how did you meet the first multi-million-dollar seller? How did you connect with the first multi-million-dollar buyer? Like, how did you do this? How did you build this? And she gladly answered. Her response was, nobody ever asked me that. They asked me to pitch my listings, asked me to do this and that, but nobody ever asked me about the time I spent in the trenches to get to where I am. And that's what I want to know. Like, what trench were you in? So
I'm pretty sure you made a friend.
Just having that. Yeah. Connecting with that. And actually turns out she knows somebody who's moving to Arizona, one of her clients. So, great return for that, but also just a really cool individual, really cool person to get to sit down and talk with. And, like the agent to agent referrals is massive, but also I'll say at this point, 5 years into it, like some of my very best friends now are agents I've met at these events. We go to each other's houses and visit each other and go to events that are not Keller Williams together and share rooms and do this and do that. And just, it's hugely valuable. I mean, I think last year, I don't know, I have to go count, but somewhere between 30 and 40 agent to agent referrals is what I closed. And all of that was because of this, because of, I'm meeting somebody at the first event I went to who invited me to a dinner. And then, I still, to this day, I'm great friends with the people who were sitting around that very first table with me.
So put yourself in front of people that are going to help you grow. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And this is a clear example of putting yourself in a position to be more. And, If you can't afford to go on these big trips like Mega Camp and Family Union, that's okay. You'll get there. But there's a ton of these resources that are provided to you through Keller Williams. You can go to KW Connect and get all this information and resources, read books, connect with people, pick up the phone and call into the markets that you have friends and family living in and meet the big agent in that area. Talk to them, have a relationship.
Yeah, you'll really see that the mindset's different when you get up to these people, you know, we have, you know, like they call it the millionaire morning or whatever, you know, having breakfast, and these guys were there at 6:30 in the morning and, you know, having breakfast before the event starts, things like that. But nobody at the table is doing less than $20 million. It's not necessarily even a requirement to be there. It's just kind of how it's evolved. But I can tell you, people originally sitting at that table were not doing that, but everybody at the table wants to see them doing that. So, you know, people are usually really willing to help when they see that you're invested in helping yourself.
Remember that the people at the top are collaborating. The people at the bottom are competing.
There's some really cool ideas. The ideas are huge. And I think that's what it is. You'll find that when you meet these people, it's really kind of amazing that they're big thinkers. But then on top of being big thinkers, they're big doers. I think the biggest difference that you see between the groups that are way up at the top and the ones that are not are the people that are the doers versus the people that are the excuse makers. There's always a reason not to do something. There's always a reason why it won't work. There's always a reason why you can't, or you won't, or you don't have time, or you don't have this or that. That's not what you hear from these guys. These guys, oh, you know what, that's a great idea. How do I do that? How do I make that happen? Not, I can't make that happen. They prioritize it.
If you're afraid of making big changes, if you're afraid of making big steps, you're never going to get there. If you're afraid of education and learning, nobody can help you. If you are unwilling to learn, nobody can help you. If you are unwilling to try, nobody can help you. However, the flip side of that is if you're willing to learn and you're willing to try and you're willing to take risks, nothing can stop you. I know this for a fact because I have seen some pretty amazing things happen with agents that are brand new to this business, that have never sold houses before. She barely spoke English as well as she spoke French and Spanish and Higundi or whatever it is. But the issue here is she was willing to learn. She was willing to struggle to find out. She was willing to put herself in situations where she can meet the right people. And in a year, in one full calendar year, she was able to not only pay off all of her moving debts, take care of her family. She got married, bought a rental house, bought a main house, and moved to Phoenix. She did 27 deals her first year. She is not a rare example. I've got a couple of them in our market center that are like that. I used to work with a guy named Sinisha. As you can tell, he's also not from California. Sinisha barely spoke English when he came to this country, and it took him 3 years to learn it, but he never gave up, and he became one of the top salespeople I know. And when you meet him, you're like, that dude looks like he kills bears with his bare hand, but he's the sweetest, nicest guy. But he learned that I'm never going to get to where I want to go living in the shadows of comfort. He pushed himself. He developed. He grew. He found people that could help him. And he is one of the best networking guys I know. He knows somebody everywhere. I met him at a hookah shop when I was, 23 years old, 24 years old. And we're still good friends today. He knows the owner of every restaurant he goes to. He knows the GM of every business that he does business with. If there's a new cashier, he goes out of his way to make sure that he's in their lane so he can meet that person. I've adopted that in my life. Wherever I go, I make a friend, smile at people, make a change. But it's because I got uncomfortable and made a friend, because he got uncomfortable to come to this country. We're not doing a whole lot of objection handling today, but I think we're handling some of the objections in your mind. This is definitely a tricked part of this call, scripts and tricks, where I think our mental scripting is more important than our outbound scripting. Because if you're not taking the time to learn and develop and grow, you're going to die on the vine, baby. Don't let yourself die in the shadow of comfort. I love that line. Just came up with it. Put it on a t-shirt. We move through life, right? All of us move at different speeds. All of us move at different levels, we up and down, but it's always moving forward. Can anybody tell me if there's a pause button on life? Can you throw your hands up and say, hold on, life? I don't have time to deal with this shit right now. Give me a couple minutes to sit here and cry and figure it out. No, life continues to move forward with or without you. So you got to realize that sometimes you're not going to be ready. Sometimes you're not going to know exactly what to do, but you're just going to have to get into action. Use the resources and tools that you have right now to get into action and move forward. And as you progress, like Amanda showed us in talking about her experiences with Mega Camp and Family Reunion, as you progress, you will meet people and you will learn things that will help you get to the next level. You will find different resources. You will find different groups of people. You will surround yourself with better. Quit waiting for it to be perfect. Quit waiting for things to be just right. The funny thing in life is when the more time we sit back and wait, we're like, you know what? We're just going to wait for the right thing to happen. Doesn't it seem like it takes longer? The more you wait for the right shit to happen, more shit goes wrong. Time snipers, negative people, gripers, bitchers, moaners, the people we all have in our life, guess what? They have a really hard time getting your ear and giving you that negativity if you're moving too fast. But you know what I tell you is when I'm moving too fast, I don't have time to deal with that. I don't have time for that negativity. I put myself in fast moving circles so that I can be better than I was. And sometimes I want to sit down and cry and just, throw my hands up and quit. But you know what? I don't have time. I have 6 other people that live with me that rely on me to be better. I have 30 people that join a morning call with me that rely on me to be better. So I find resources and I find things that push me forward. And if I feel like I'm scooting backwards, I reset. I get around people like Amanda and Jim. And hell, even some of the new agents have great mindsets that I like to be around that will help me help you. Sometimes it's a book. Sometimes it's a podcast. Hell, sometimes it's a freaking TikTok video that was 9 seconds long. You don't know the resources you need until you get them. And you're like, holy crap, how did I live without this? But you also don't need a ton of shit to get started. So if you want to sell more houses, go do it. You want to list more houses, go do it. If you don't know what you're doing, do it anyways. We will figure it out on the way. If you're going to sit back on your couch and you're going to wait for shit to be right, or you're going to wait till you have everything figured out, or you're going to make sure that you can fill out the brochure and teach the class before you ever talk to somebody, life will not only pass you by, it will pummel you. Because think about this, when you're getting on the freeway, right? What happens if you're the slow car on the on-ramp? If you got someone like me behind you, I'm up on you, or I'm over top of you. It's dangerous to stop. I like that Cheryl put in the chat. I was saying, after my next home sale, I will set aside money for family reunion. Okay, do it now. I spent $36. Love you too. Have a great day. $36 a week at McDonald's because I buy myself a breakfast sandwich every week. $36. Not a whole lot of money, but it adds up over time. It adds up in calories. It adds up in time spent going through McDonald's drive-through. But what is $36 a week for the entire year? It's nearly $2,000. Could I spend $2,000 on something that would help me make more money than a McDonald's sandwich? Absolutely. Can I wake up 30 minutes earlier than I normally wake up so I can just eat breakfast at home? Absolutely. Can I wake my kids up 15 minutes earlier than I normally did so that we're not rushing to get out of the house? Absolutely. Small adjustments made every day make the difference. And I learned this from a book. Set yourself up for success.
Ask people, people in maps get free tickets to these things, or, it comes with their coaching. They don't all go. So they can transfer that ticket to somebody for free. And a lot of them will, if they know they're not going, they know you're a newer agent and they know that maybe you need help and you're trying to better yourselves. A lot of them will be like, you know what, I'll just assign it to you. I'll do things like that. Like, ask. The worst thing that's going to happen is that you won't have something you already don't have.
Ask. Remember this sentence. The world will gladly pay any price you ask. You must be willing to ask. All right, my friends, That is the end of our rant for today. Amanda, thank you so much for adding some extra value. We appreciate you as always.
You're
You guys
welcome.
learn something- You guys learned something today you can use? Does this give you a reason to go tell someone else to join this call? Right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, big high five.